Each morning after I shower, I go to my closet and I have to make a choice. I think I'll wear black pants today. I think I'll wear a black shirt. And I think I'll put on a clerical collar. If I feel real daring, I'll put on my black cassock. You know, uniforms make choices easy. I was thinking about this when I read the gospel. Jesus says, "Strive to enter through the narrow gate, for many, I tell you, will attempt to enter, but will not be strong enough." Life gives us so many choices to make. What to eat, what to wear, what to do, where to go, how to go, what to watch, what to listen to, and the list is endless. All day long, we are encountering choices that we have to make. And I think we often think of our spiritual life, our life in the church, our life in Christ is just one of those choices that we have to make in all of these things that we have in our life. One of those decisions, for example, prayer. Do I pray? Do I go to Mass? Do I fast? But what Jesus is saying is that there's only one choice in your whole life to think about. Everything is based on that one choice. And it is this: am I on the narrow path toward the kingdom, or am I on the wide road toward destruction? That's it. It's really so simple. The path of salvation is not an easy path. The narrow path is the path of light versus darkness, the path of good versus evil, the path of truth versus deceit. This affects everything we do in our life if we are thinking narrow path or wide road. Am I on the narrow path toward the kingdom or the wide road toward destruction? It will affect how we use our time. If I'm on the narrow path, maybe I'm thinking, this is a good time to pray. This is a good time to go to Mass. This is a good time to read the Bible. Those are narrow path decisions. The wide path decisions are, I'll pray later. I'll go next time. I'll read my Bible later. The narrow path decisions may affect what we watch. Is this going to help my soul, or is this going to cause trouble for me? If you're all alone surfing the internet, especially late at night, you are probably not going to find yourself on the narrow path. It will be a very wide and easy road to destruction. And what we watch makes a difference. It stays in our heads. It's like music, you know? The things we listen to make a difference. We hear a song, and what ends up happening? You're humming that song all day long. You can't get it out of your head. The narrow path-oriented focus says, what can I do for others? The wide road-oriented focus says, what can I do for myself? This affects our relationships. The narrow path is forgiveness, humility, peace. The wide road is, who cares? Let them apologize. It doesn't matter. I don't need them anyway. It affects what we talk about. The narrow path is thinking and being careful. Like, we're starting to say bad things about other people. Let's change the topic. The wide road says, I just don't care. Goes right on spending hours doing it and spreading all sorts of gossip and detraction. Many times, we are on cruise control as we breeze through all these choices, never even pausing to think, is this a narrow path decision or a wide road decision? The Christian life is the life that is constantly choosing the narrow path. And the consequence of that is that we should expect that this narrow path is a lonely path because it's not wide. There won't be a lot of people on that path. If I'm doing what everyone else is doing and going where everyone else is going and spending time the way everyone else is spending time, we should pause and think, I'm not on the narrow path. I need to turn back. The easier we try to make life, the harder it gets. Jesus says this word, strive. Strive to enter, he says. Well, that very word means it's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen on its own. It's going to take work. The wide path is easy, and it leads to destruction. But the illusion that the world gives is that the narrow path and the wide road both lead to the same destination, but they don't. When Jesus says, enter through the narrow path, he isn't referring to an actual path at all, but rather, it's a way of walking any path. And the narrow path will always deliver on its promises. One of the most famous photographs taken during World War II shows 4 Marines planting the American flag on Mount Surabaki on the island of Iwo Jima in the Pacific Ocean. I'm sure nearly everybody in this church has seen that picture at some point or another. The famous photograph was taken just after the Marines had driven the enemy from this strategic location on the mountain. The photographer who took the picture braved minefields and machine gun fire to record it. His name was Joe Rosenthal. Joe was no stranger to courage. He was a Jew who became convinced that Jesus Christ was not only the promised Messiah, but also the very Son of God. And he decided to become a Catholic. His family and friends fought his decision. They thought he was making a huge mistake. He risked losing everyone in his life. And so to do what he thought was right, Joe had to go against everyone else that loved him. And he loved them deeply, so it was a very painful choice. But he had to follow his conscience. When newspapers and magazines printed Joe's prize-winning photo, everyone wanted to know more about the man who took the photograph. So in an interview, Joe told a journalist, the day before we went ashore on Iwo Jima, I attended Mass and received Holy Communion. And then referring to his conversion to Catholicism, he said, if a man is genuinely convinced he has the truth and still neglects it, he is a traitor. And that goes not only for my Jewish friends who fail to attend the synagogue each Saturday, but also my Catholic friends who miss Mass on Sundays. My brothers and sisters, the path is not narrow because God made it that way so that few people could pass through it, but rather it's narrow because we make it that way by our choices and our decisions to follow Jesus Christ and all of his teachings.